Hey y'all, these tips really help me get moving on days when, if I'm left to my own devices, I might just not. So the first thing that I always check in with and try to dial in better is my sleep. Now ideally, I've had a great night's sleep the night before, if I know I have a big day coming up, but more often than not, maybe the wheels have already come off my sleep the night before and I need to course correct. In fact, if I wake up feeling tired, sluggish, that's usually a good sign that it's going to be one of those days and I need to break out some of these best practices. So best case scenario is I've had a great night of sleep. I don't overthink this, okay? I just want to be in a dark, cold-ish room, head on pillow for 8-ish hours. I used to track my sleep pretty closely using lots of trackers and alarm clocks. Those of you who know me or have been watching recent videos will know I'm pretty anti that these days. Especially sleep being one of those things where it's really easy to get anxiety about sleep. At least if you're me or me adjacent. I feel like anxiety is like anathema to sleep. It's going to stop you from getting a good night's sleep if you get too worried about it. So if you're someone who does struggle to sleep or have issues with insomnia, I am not a sleep expert. Do it every night, but I'm not a sleep expert. And I know the pain of being underslept. If you are in that boat, please reach out to me in the comments. Lots of great resources online. You don't need to be struggling with insomnia alone. There are some really interesting treatment approaches nowadays, which you may be aware of, you may not. Either way, don't suffer in silence. If I've not had a great night's sleep, maybe I did my best and I still couldn't get well rested, or maybe I stayed up too late, having too much fun, doing whatever. It would seriously mean so much to me right now if you hit liked. Liked? Either way, I'm waking up the next day feeling a bit sluggish. What can I do? Well, I can certainly try to have a nap. I don't like to rely on stimulants too much because that's a bit of a slippery slope and ultimately they don't really work for me that well. Anyway, I think caffeine is a bit of a placebo effect, at least on me. But if a nap isn't quite cutting it or I don't have time, I might do something like a yoga Nidra practice or non-sleep deep rest protocol. I'll link to some of these in the video description. There are lots of free ones on YouTube. It's ultimately a really specific kind of guided meditation about being highly focused on certain parts of your body and your mind, and it can be really recharging. Science seems to suggest it can be at least as restorative for you as a nap. That can feel a little bit more proactive, productive than just saying, I'm tired, I'm gonna crawl back into bed. Speaking of yoga nidra, non-sleep deep rest, strategy number 2 is some kind of mindfulness practice. Now, this can be a traditional meditation, either again using a free resource on YouTube or one of the well-known meditation apps out there, or if you have experience, you can just sit quietly in a chair, do your own thing. But it can also be something a little more novel, like yoga nidra, non-sleep deep rest, or you can try different forms of breath work. Now, I have in the past tracked my breath work practice. Again, don't recommend it. You don't need to track how much and how well you breathe. Probably. I mean, definitely make sure you're breathing enough and well, but it doesn't need to be logged in your health app. It can be logged in your lungs. Your lungs are going to do a good job of tracking that for you. And continuing the theme of having anxiety about things that are made worse by having anxiety, breath work for me can be really helpful, but not if I'm too in my head about, am I doing this correctly? Right, maybe you know some of the popular breathwork practices out there nowadays, like box breathing, or the physiological sigh, or 4-7-8 breathing. Regardless, these are all really specific ways of breathing for an extended period of time, meant to relax you, or focus you, or have some specific physiological change happen to you, hopefully for the better. So for example, with the physiological sigh, you are supposed to do a really deep breath through your nose, and then at the top of that breath, do one more tiny inhale through your nose again. Really just make sure your lungs are fully inflated. I don't know why I'm pretending that I've got my breath held. I don't. So you do the breath, and you breathe one time at the top, and then you breathe out really slowly through your mouth until your lungs are empty. And then you repeat that process for like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And what I find happens when I do that is my fingers start to tingle and I start to get lightheaded. And so I think that is not making me feel super relaxed, and it's making me think, do I know how to breathe? Am I breathing correctly? And then I would be tracking it in an app, and then I would look at how it judged my breathing protocol, and it would be, you're stressed, which is not what you want to hear after you've just done 5 minutes of deep breathing, trying to relax yourself, trying to get into a good headspace, and then an app tells you that you've done it badly and that you're stressed. So breathwork can work. I like something like box breathing, where the breathing pattern is you breathe in, you hold, you breathe out, you hold. Hard to overthink. You can attenuate it faster or slower depending on how you're feeling. You can fine tune the sort of rhythm of your breathing. Typically, I like to do a silent meditation. Tried a lot of different apps over the years. Typically, I will now just focus on my breathing, listen to my surroundings, check in, do some sort of body scan, especially if I feel like the day is getting away from me. Tip 3. Devices. You can't escape them nowadays, and nor would you want to. They're useful, they're practical, they help us engage with the world. But they're also really pretty awful sometimes. They're designed to keep us coming back to them engaged, distracted. Either it's a work day and I potentially feel distracted by the pull of my phone to check something and I'm not focused as well as I could be on work tasks, or it's the weekend or the evening and I'm trying to unwind, connect with my partner, with my family, with my friends, and again, I'm feeling the pull elsewhere to check my phone and allow myself to get distracted by an app, by a post, by a thread, by a video. It leaves me not feeling necessarily that great. So to really get my mood into great shape, especially if I'm needing to focus on something, I will create a device-free bubble. I will put my phone in a drawer in another room and try my best not to think about it. If it's just on Do Not Disturb, turned face down on my desk, that's doing absolutely nothing. I feel that constant draw to reach for it and check. There's always an app that I can open up and pull down the little slot machine spinner and see if anything refreshes to give me a little hit of fake dopamine. And that's not what I want, but I'm trying to focus on something important elsewhere. So, by no means a groundbreaking technique, but getting yourself far away from your devices, intentionally setting up a space where they're not there to distract you, almost immediately gets me feeling better. Tip number 4, and this is a really fun one, allow yourself a guilt-free indulgence. And this can be food, but it does not need to be. It needs to be something which typically you would enjoy, but you would tinge with guilt. So maybe it is scrolling on your phone, but allowing yourself to do that guilt-free for an amount of time, get the goodness, the nourishment from this activity without the associated guilt that you would normally have hanging there in the background. Watch the trashy TV show. Gossip with your friend about your other friend. Eat the cupcake and then finish the box. Okay, maybe don't finish the box, right? It's not for me really about the indulgence. It's great, sure, to do something indulgent. For me, it's taking that moment to just go easy on yourself and don't pile on that guilt, that negativity. Number 5, and the last tip I have for you today, is to get outside into the real world, right? Into nature, assuming that conditions are safe. Get out there, get moving. It doesn't need to be about exercise. For me, it needs to be about fresh air. Feel the wind, the rain, the sunshine, hopefully, if that's your thing. I'm Scottish, it can't be my thing. See the stars, try to decide if that's Mars or Venus or just an airplane. Get out into the world and experience the day as it actually is, not whatever your thermostat happens to be set to inside. There are lots of studies out there about the benefits of being out in nature, but I'm not doing it for the official, supposedly proven benefits. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. We are meant to, ultimately, on some level, be outside. Yes, shelter is important and helps us survive, but there are so many great things about being out in the world that our bodies need to thrive. To close the circle, right, if I wake up in the morning and I feel tired and sluggish, I know I haven't necessarily had the best night of sleep. The first thing I do isn't take a nap, look up a non-sleep deep rest protocol, or have a cupcake. Admittedly, I do try to not immediately grab for my phone, but the first thing that I do is try and get outside. Get some sunlight, get some fresh air, breathe in, do a little stretch, then get going. So that's it. Those 5 things really work for me. What about you? What's your first port of call when you're not having the best day and you want to give yourself a little pick-me-up? Is it one of these 5 things? Is it something else? I would love to hear from you. I'm all about adding a new tool to my toolkit. Making this video today has helped me feel a lot more part of the world, so thank you for your part in that. I hope it's helped you if you are struggling today too. And with that, I'll just say, see you next time. It's too hot!